Many opposing viewpoints are being drowned out when it comes to the president's use of force in Syria. This week, Senator Bernie Sanders tweeted, President Trump has no legal authority for broadening the war in Syria. It is Congress, not the president, who determines whether our country goes to war. And Republican Senator Rand Paul had this to say during Mike Pompeo's confirmation hearing to become the next Secretary of State.
Madison wrote very specifically, he said, the executive branch is the branch most prone to war. Therefore, we have, with studied care, vested that authority in the legislature. So the fact that we have in the past done this doesn't make it constitutional. And I would say that I take objection to the idea that the president can go to war when he wants, where he wants.
For more on this, we're joined tonight by former Georgia State Representative LaDawn Jones and also Republican strategist Chris Neiweem. Great to have both of you with us tonight. I don't know, maybe I got to clean my ears out, but I just don't hear too many dissenting voices on Capitol Hill or too many questioning the authority of the president. But this president hit Syria a year ago, so what's different this time around? LaDawn, how's this going to play out?
Well, it should have been different a year ago. We know that the authorization for use of military force was something that came after 2011, after September 11th. And for it to continue again and again is just an excuse that we need to, the Congress needs to step in and stop. They have to raise their voice, because otherwise we will continue getting ourselves into wars based on something that happened many years ago.
Chris, why aren't we hearing more dissenting voices on Capitol Hill? I mean, there's Bernie Sanders, there's Rand Paul, but collectively there's no push. It's almost like judge, jury, and they're ready to be executioner. And the question tonight is, are they correct?
Well, the answer to that, Ed, is they're all politicians. They don't want to be on the wrong side of something that's successful or the side of something that turns out to be unsuccessful. I think that's why you're not hearing as loud of voices, and most want something positive to happen over there. As for the authorization of use of military force, that's been so old and so played out. I mean, I give Senator Paul and Sanders credit for being consistent, but that is completely outdated. The president can commit our troops, already has done that, and that's just sort of an eye roll for me, because we've been at war and we're still at war, and they're out in Congress talking to people while people in the Pentagon are conducting military operations to keep the nation safe.
Does it appear to you, LaDawn, that the president has changed his demeanor and determination on this at all, or has he had a reality check? What's different?
You know, for me, a part of it appears that he's trying to put on a show, as you know, to hide the whole Russia scandal that's going on. He's turned up the heat. He's using a lot more tough Twitter talk. I don't think much has changed. I think he's really trying to play a role, and you never can quite tell with Trump where he's going with these types of things.
You don't agree with that, Chris?
No, I mean, I had to roll my eyes at least twice. I mean, the Russia scandal that still has been completely unproven. It's just sort of a political eye roll at this point. I think the president's trying to do what he campaigned on, not keep us in these endless wars, but actually have successes that matter, and he's trying to measure his options. He's very involved, and I think he wants to have a business approach to this where the U.S. has an investment that makes sense. So he's trying to do the right thing, and I think the Pentagon's going to weigh their options, and we're going to see what happens over the weekend.
Well, Chris, let me ask you this. If we hit Assad a year ago and we're back at it again, how do you measure success this time around?
Well, you measure, Assad needs to be hit so hard he doesn't get back up. We need to hit the bases that have the aerial capability to launch these attacks, military targets, planes. The Russians and the Syrians are hiding all those planes because they know a hit's coming. So, you know, it's going to be difficult, but I think sustained hits in those particular airfields, and with our allies, who, as you said earlier, Ed, they always waffle. We're always the ones leading, so we need them to be with us.
And, LaDawn, about those dissenting voices, the absence of them on Capitol Hill, there seems to be really no concern what the Russians are saying to the lawmakers on Capitol Hill, that they have said, of course, they want to be the adult in the room and they want to talk it out. They want to have back-channel conversations, and some of them have taken place. But the fact is, Trump is going to do this at some time. And Russia has been on record saying that they're going to respond, but it just seems to fall on deaf ears on Capitol Hill. What do you think?
You know, this is kind of odd, and I don't know if people are afraid of what Trump is exactly going to do, but you would think that at this point Congress would be jumping all over this to make it clear that, you know, our Constitution, our laws in this United States require that any act of force in our military goes through Congress. And I'm very surprised, just like you, that they're not speaking up much louder.
Here's another dice that's been rolled in the White House today. After talking to some Republican lawmakers, the president says that he's instructing his trade negotiators to go get back and re-engage in the Trans-Pacific Partnership. This delivered a lot of union votes for the president, Chris. This is a major turncoat on the blue-collar workers because you will end up seeing jobs go overseas if the United States is involved in this massive trade deal. Why is he doing this?
I think he's doing it as a negotiation tactic. I mean, he certainly has a variety of positions, and he's very independent in the way he approaches the presidency. And I think, if anything, him being in the White House really helps the checks and balances of bringing these ideas and contrasting them, not just a party that's doing the same thing. You know, I think some of these are trial balloons, and others are just negotiating, things that he sees based on his experience, and it's, it'll be interesting to see if we can benefit from
Is this
that.
a mistake, LaDawn? It's certainly going back on a campaign promise.
It's an absolute mistake, more than just about the campaign, but he just can't pull things out the air and say it. It makes a huge difference in the lives of everyday Americans if we are or are not involved in certain trade deals. It makes a difference in the lives of our economy, makes a difference in our stock market, and for him to just continue to throw things out to see what will stick to the wall, it's a problem.
LaDawn Jones, Chris Neiweem, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Appreciate your time tonight.